When people talk about the Brothers Johnson, they often mention the hits, the platinum records, and the production genius of Quincy Jones. But behind the funk, behind the rhythm, behind the bass and shine was a guitar sound that helped define the era. His playing didn't overpower the song, it defined it. Every riff, every chord, locked in seamlessly with the bass and drums to create one of the tightest grooves in funk history. From Stump to Strawberry Letter 23, his guitar helped shape the sound of the 70s and beyond, influencing generations of musicians who understood that the groove matters more than volume. While others chased flash, he focused on groove. While trends changed, his guitar stayed timeless. The centerpiece of today's video is all about George Johnson. Now, if you guys love my videos and love supporting me, then I suggest you become a member of the channel where I will be releasing exclusive videos just for you all. Be sure to get that family tier so you won't miss out on these exclusive perks. If you guys would love to connect with me outside of YouTube, then I am officially announcing that I am on Discord. Here, you can provide me with feedback on my recent uploads. You could drop your suggestions for future videos, or if you just want to chat it up about videos or about music in general, or just about anything, we could do it here. We could do it together. I hope to see you there. The link is in the description below. Now, before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. Before the hits, before the gold records, and before the world knew the Brothers Johnson, there was just a young guitarist growing up in Los Angeles, California, surrounded by music. It was in this city that George Lightning Licks Johnson was born on May 17, 1953. Johnson was raised in a household where sound was consistent. Jazz, blues, gospel, and soul poured from radios and the turntables, shaping his ear long before he picked up a guitar. Music wasn't just entertainment, it was education. When George found a guitar, he didn't treat it as a lead instrument meant to dominate. He saw it as a rhythmic tool, something that could lock in with the drums, dance around the bass, and elevate the entire groove. That same mindset would define his whole career. George wasn't alone during this journey. His younger brother, Louis, was already emerging as a bass prodigy. He was electric, aggressive, and impossibly tight. Before the Brothers Johnson came together, they formed a band that was named Johnson 3+1 with their older brother Tommy and their cousin Alex Weir, while attending school in Los Angeles, California. The brothers, they formed a music partnership rooted in instinct and chemistry. George provided precision and restraint, and Louis, he brought the power and flair. The balance between the two created something special, a sound that was both explosive and controlled. As session musicians in Los Angeles, the Brothers Johnson quickly earned a reputation. Their musicianship spoke for itself, and it wasn't long before the industry took notice. The turning point came when Quincy Jones recognized their talent. Quincy didn't just hear skill, he heard potential. He understood that George Johnson's guitar style was clean, rhythmic, and deeply funky, and he knew that this was the perfect sound for the evolving sound of the 70s R&B and funk sound. Under Quincy's guidance, the brothers, they transformed from gifted musicians into recording artists with a clear vision. George's guitar became sharper, more intentional, less about solos and more about the feel. With albums like Looking Out for Number 1 and Right on Time, the Brothers Johnson established a sound that stood apart from their peers. George's guitar was central to their identity. He mastered the art of space, knowing when to play and when not to play. His riff was tight, economical, and infectious. Every chord served the groove. On tracks like Get the Funk Out of My Face and Ain't We Funkin' Now, George's guitar locked in perfectly with Louis bass, creating a rhythmic engine that was impossible to ignore. Then came the legendary Stomp. This song became a global anthem, a celebration of rhythm, movement, and funk culture. While many focus on the bass and vocals, George's guitar provided the rhythmic framework that made the song unstoppable. His playing didn't compete for attention. It commanded it quietly. Stomp solidified the brothers as international stars. It cemented George's place as one of funk's most important guitarists. When the brothers released Strawberry Letter 23, they wasn't just reinterpreting a song, they was redefining it. George approached the track with elegance and restraint. His guitar work was atmospheric, tasteful, and deeply musical, proving he wasn't just a funk guitarist, but a complete musician. The song's success showcased George's versatility and maturity. As a player who understood that the emotions often speaks louder than speed. George never chased the spotlight. In an era filled with guitar heroes and flamboyant performers, he chose discipline over access. His influence could be heard in countless R&B and funk recordings that followed, in the way guitarists approach groove, rhythm, and feel. He helped refine what it meant to be a funk guitarist, not a showman, but a servant of the song. As the 80s progressed, musical tastes underwent a shift. Disco faded, funk evolved, and the music industry moves on. The brothers Johnson faced personal and professional challenges, including the pressure of fame and the toll of non-stop success. Through it all, George remained focused on musicianship, even as the spotlight dimmed. Now, for more information about the brothers Johnson, then I highly suggest you check out my tribute video to them. After the peak success of the brothers Johnson, George explored solo work and independent projects that allowed him to step outside the tight framework of the duo and express his musicianship on his own terms. While he never pursued solo stardom with the same intensity as group success, his individual recordings and collaborations highlighted his strength as a tasteful, groove-driven guitarist rather than a flashy lead player. George released one single in 1985 that was titled Back Against the Wall. This was released on Quincy Jones' Q West label. An album was also recorded, but unfortunately it was unreleased. George confirmed this when he and Louis was interviewed around 1987-1988 for the Blues and Soul magazine in the UK. George also delivered guitar work for Steve Ayrton's album Dancing in the Key of Life, and he also had ad-lib vocals on the track Think Back and Remember from the Galaxy album by the Jeff Lorber Fusion. Today, George Johnson's guitar work continued to influence artists across the genres, from funk and R&B to hip-hop and neo-soul. Producers sampled the grooves, musicians studied the restraint, and fans, they felt the rhythm, even if they didn't know his name. He didn't just play funk, he defined it. George Johnson's legacy isn't built on flashy solos or headlines. It's built on the feel, discipline, and groove. Every tight riff, every perfectly placed chord, and every moment where the song moved because the guitar knew when to speak and when to stay silent. This is the man behind the guitar that's behind the brothers Johnson's marvelous hits. He is one of funk's true architects. Now, as I stated before, I love to give my flowers to my legends while they can still smell them. So I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song by the brothers Johnson? Or your favorite song that George Johnson played on?